Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday with Pastor Dan. I apologize for missing yesterday. Scatterbrain from traveling and a funeral and all that stuff. So we're going to just push to today. Today and for here until Christmas or maybe even a little bit after, we decided to change it up from our one book and move to something different. For some of you, remember we used to do pre-pandemic. We were doing Advent class on Tuesdays where we'd gather and study a book together. And so we're going to bring that to video time. And so we picked one by a familiar author that we've used before named Matt Rawle. Some of you may remember the Scrooge book and another one. We're going to do A Heart That Grew Three Sizes, which, if you know the Grinch story, it's about the Grinch. And how we find faith and inspiration inside that story for us in this Advent time. So, quick refresher on the Grinch. Bethany and I were just talking about this. One of our must-see Christmas movies during this time of year is The Grinch. It's not the 1960s, 70s version. It's not the Jim Carrey one. But it's the Benedict Cumberbatch one that came out in, I think, like 2015, 16, 19, somewhere in there. And love it. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's just not kind of a Christmas season unless we see the Grinch. And it's such a familiar story to many of us. The man whose shoes might be too tight, or his heart is two sizes too small, or whatever it may be, that he hates Christmas. And Seuss goes out of his way to say that he hates Christmas. He lives up on Mount Crumpet watching the Who's down below in Whoville, and he just hates Christmas with a passion. Interestingly, as reading about it more, this was almost an autobiography about Dr. Seuss and some of his problems that he had with Christmas. To the where is it the cheesy music and his disdain for sleigh bells and the commercialization of it, and it just in many ways became it was a autobiography of what he just didn't enjoy about Christmas. And I can be honest, I can get on board with some of that. I'm a little Grinchy. I don't love all Christmas music, that's for sure. But yeah, so anyhow, we'll leave me out of this one. But the Grinch, it sits in our minds and it resonates with us because we know someone maybe who is Grinchy, which may not all be completely a bad thing. We have to remember how the story ends, but we'll get there. We may have that inside of us that we're just like, I just don't love this. I mean, there's a reason it resonates. And I don't think it's just simply about the growth that happens in him, but I think there's some resonating in there in the terms of what Christmas has become, or what it's kind of been so commercialized. And it's a struggle for some people, for sure, because they can't provide like other people provide for their kids, or it's just not that great time of year. I mean, we all want to think it's the most wonderful time of year, and if we listen to that song, if we heard those words, Andy Williams croning over the radio, I would be all for that if it was identical to that. But it's not. And I think that's part of why the Grinch can resonate with some people in ways, because it's not always the most wonderful time of year. And we have to find ways that we can lift people up, and to understand that it may not be just the best time of year. Highland Ridge does a Blue Christmas for as many widows and widowers and people out there who have lost loved ones that they're just not around. Christmas it's hard. Can be very, very hard. My question with the Grinch is, why does he hate Christmas so much? And in the Jim Carrey version, you get a little a little backstory. You get that it was he had that bad experience the one time and with the girl and all that. But we don't get that. We don't get that in any other story of him. And maybe it was a bad Christmas. Maybe it's just he's just an angry, bitter person. But it's I think there has to be a reason, and I think that's what one of the things we can grab from the Grinch is that when we come to this time of year and we see people down, angry, frustrated, filled with disdain, and that it's that they only hear noise and it sounds like a clashing cymbal and it's not joyous. Rather than dismissing them as bitter, Scroogey, Grinchy people, what would it do or what would it look like if we asked, where does that come from? What's the backstory? Because you look at the Grinch further through and the relationship that Cindy Lou Who builds with him, getting to know him, that's part of that big progress forward. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but what if we took that moment when someone is struggling this time of year to say, how'd they get there, and invest in understanding them? I think that's also just part of our faith is who we are as Christians. We're supposed to be investing and asking further questions. I think The Grinch is an absolutely fantastic story. I look forward to exploring it more with you all on our book here. We got lots to. We're going to kind of split chapters up into two. Bethany will take a little bit, and then we probably won't even do the whole thing justice. But I really think that it's a powerful story of redemption and growth, and what better time of year to talk about it and to refocus us on that, away from some of the clashing gongs and noisy cymbals, and to better focus us on one another and what may be going on in each other's lives further than just the surface. May you all have a blessed week. Happy beginning to Advent, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.